Is it set to public?
Tuck it in there, bud.
Talk to
I
me,
think so.
Jupiter.
You think so?
Time will tell.
I think so.
Time will tell.
Oh boy.
Alfalfa fam just missed one of
This
the
is
greatest cold starts.
This
to
is
the
a new
podcast
fun
ever.
routine where we do the opening of the podcast 6 times.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to our live show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called
we go.
Welcome to our live show again.
So should I give the TLDR of what people missed?
Go ahead, and I'll do the thing.
Eric's ex-girlfriend used to call him Jupiter because his head was so large.
Spherical.
Spherical.
Massive.
I've never
Missed
thought
one
of
hell
you
of
as
a
having a
cold
big
start.
head.
No, I'm huge.
No, it's big.
Armand's got a
It's
big
big.
dome.
Do I?
Yeah.
No, but you're big.
Is it a larger dome?
No,
pretty
you're
big dome.
you're just like
didn't know
to
that.
scale. I'm just Jupiter.
I think
You're a moon
your
face.
the head proportion is slightly larger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whole town knows it.
Yeah. Okay, we're doing a pod.
I think we're doing a pod. Are we live, Nick?
Yep.
You confirmed?
Confirmed.
No,
I don't see it on the channel.
he's refreshing.
Oh.
Nick's refreshing.
It's a
his-
little Easter egg.
It's an Easter egg?
Yeah.
You're gonna like hunt for it?
You gotta find
Oh, this is really good
He's
for
just
the
doing work.
viewership.
he's just refreshing.
Oh,
I thought I saw a chart or a Slack message.
Wait,
gotta refresh the cohorts, dude.
why don't I see the stream?
It's in there.
Are you sure?
You guys own any Viore pants?
Oh, you're right. There it is.
I got a Viore shirt on.
I got a new set of Viore pants for the birthday.
Oh wow, those look fancy.
They're delightful.
Holeless for now.
Delightful. Yeah, no holes. Very smooth, silky, multifunctional.
Hey, no free sponsorships here. No free plugs.
That's
You gotta pay
okay.
up.
It's okay.
Are they made to golf in?
Oh, you can do whatever you want,
Yeah, they
brother.
got some
Built
they
for
got some
speed
golf
and
pants.
comfort.
What about lunges?
Yeah, I could definitely lunge
speed.
in
You
these.
look
Should I
like
do
you
a
could
practice
lunge in
set of
those.
squats? No, not right now.
I'm sure the audience would love that.
They haven't paid enough.
Oh boy.
After hours.
Oh boy.
Well,
I think we're
welcome
live.
everybody.
I think we're live.
How are you
I think we
guys?
did
Can
it.
I get a cheers?
Yeah,
We
you're
haven't
solid.
done one of those in a while. Sir?
You going all the way to the middle?
God, the Pacifico looks
Ooh,
good.
you see, you do have flexible pants on. I can tell.
I'm just gonna raise it up.
Good eye contact.
It's going to be a fun one. I'm really excited about the topics today.
I don't have any beers today, and now that I've had the
Yeah.
old fashioned, I wish I had the beer.
I know. You got to
I
have
need
the
both.
backup beer.
I've done a lot of drinking on this
Look how
show,
serious he's getting right now. About
and
this.
I've been settled.
This is really important.
No, this is important.
I know it is. I feel it.
You know how when you go to the movies, like you have to have this like balance of stuff. Like you can't just only eat popcorn;
Salt,
it's terrible. You can't just only
sugar.
have chocolate; it's bad. Like I go popcorn, Sour Patch Kids, something chocolate, and it's just this holy trifecta.
It's very important.
And like
Balance.
here, I need the beer
The beer chaser.
and the old fashioned.
You're a man that thinks about the important things. And I really
I
appreciate
do.
that. I really have always appreciated that. Most people just, drink something. You're like, no, I need the right order in the universe for this.
The best balance is
Occasion.
the McDonald's Happy Meal. It's got like the meatiness of like a burger. It's got the salt of the fries and the sweetness of the Coke. It's like perfectly made addiction.
Yeah.
So you're still
I
eating
love
those,
that
huh?
as a kid. When was the last
Happy
time you
Meals?
went to a movie?
To a movie.
I was just talking to my barber
Um,
about that today. No one goes to the movies.
Nick just went.
The
I went on
last time
Sunday.
I went to a movie was a showing of Loy Fei's LA concert at the Hollywood Bowl. And it
Okay.
was
That
beautiful.
is
Nose
so.
and pinkies up, boys.
Yeah, that is so bougie. It's not a movie.
That's not bougie.
I don't even know what you talked
I
about.
thought you
Loewe?
mentioned an orchestra at the movie.
No, Loy. She's like that Icelandic kind of Zoomer singer with like the beautiful voice who sings kind of like jazzy bossa nova
Does he have
style.
a voice of an angel?
Oh my God, she's like
Is it a movie?
no. It was just a IMAX thing of a concert she did.
So you didn't go to a movie.
Yeah, it wasn't a movie. It was
What
at a
movie did you
theater.
see?
Huh?
What movie did
I
you
saw
see?
The Accountant 2.
Oh, Nick's still working.
He was totally crunching a number. He was totally in the number.
All right, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
present. I'm present. I saw The Accountant 2. Weird thing. Ben Affleck, he's like semi-autistic in the movie, and in the original one, he used his normal voice, just like kind of like a monotone voice, and he introduced what I can only describe as an autistic accent.
In the second movie.
In the second movie, it's just a new
Autistic.
way
New
of
development
talking.
to the
Like he was
character?
like, "Oh, this sounds autistic."
Autistic accent.
Yeah, it's like if no one who's ever heard anyone autistic talk, they'd be like, "This is what I think they sound like," and
Okay.
it kind of it's hard to watch. I mean, it's still kind of like explosion, people get killed, it's fast paced,
I love the
keeps you
first
entertainment.
one.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and then I was like, "Why is he talking like that?"
Yeah, I haven't
He's
seen
so
a movie
weird,
in
man.
forever.
And like Eric said, I did Google it afterwards. Reddit confirmed my suspicions. He just introduced some.
Oh
Weird...
yeah, what I said is like anytime you're watching something and you notice something that grinds your gears in a movie, I have to go to the internet directly after to be like, did anyone else see this? And then once you do see that, like everybody,
my
is
my
on your
favorite is like when you're trying to understand the ending of a movie.
I do that too.
I do that. I'm like, what do people think about the ending?
I'm like, okay, yeah, what was that?
Oh,
what was
Tenet.
that?
Tenet. I had to like read 3 articles.
I heard that's a terrible movie.
I couldn't make it past 5 minutes.
I
of the
heard
movie.
it's a terrible,
But-
worst movie Christopher
which
Nolan has
movie?
made.
Tenet.
Tenet.
Never even heard of it.
Okay,
Palindrome.
I heard it's just a shit show. It's chaos.
it was
It's not.
so bad.
It's just not good.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I don't even want to watch it. We're gonna get to this, right? Breakfast Club. Should I talk about it now?
No.
Bring it up
Later?
now.
Well, we're going into the getting
Yeah,
rich.
we're in movies.
So yeah, I watched this.
We're in the movie.
We're in the
aisle.
movies.
Stay in the
So
movie.
what
aisle.
I watched this weekend was The Breakfast Club.
watched The
Have you?
Breakfast
Who's
Club?
seen The
Wow.
Breakfast Club?
I know the song.
Okay. Do you know the movie?
It's the best.
Don't you
Oh,
forget about me.
Whenever I hear that song, I get so nostalgic.
Yeah.
I used to say that I want that
pure
played at my.
feels.
That's gonna be like my funeral song.
Damn.
Do you guys have a
I'm
funeral
going to- going to
playlist
the ground
yet?
with
Can we
that.
start with a wedding song first? Jesus.
Do you have a funeral?
No,
playlist?
that's not a wedding song.
Fuck.
Nobody's
It's like
saying.
a,
Are you gonna
it's
start
like
with
a nostalgia. It's like it's a song. It's like a wistful song, you know. But it's also
very
like
good.
you know.
Hey, 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 hey.
You guys didn't answer my question.
Sorry,
what was
I get,
that?
Who's seen the
you
movie?
brought up Simple
I have
Minds,
not.
and I just get so
Did you see the movie?
wrapped in it. Oh, like 20 years ago.
And you know the
Uh,
song, but you haven't seen the movie.
Dude, have you ever watched a movie like from after 1990?
They're awesome.
The movies that are new, or
Well, I like all movies that are good.
you like old movies?
I like old movies.
I feel like Armand was trying to make a point, and we totally did it.
Sorry, no, I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie.
I'm okay. So I watched the movie. It's on Netflix right now, I think, or one of those platforms, and it just popped up, and I was like, I've never seen The Breakfast Club. And like usually I overanalyze what I'm going to watch. You know, I go to my list and I have my rankings. I'm an algo about certain
I've seen
things.
you order food at a restaurant.
Yeah.
A lot of decision points.
A lot of
need the
decision
waiter's
points.
opinion.
There's certain things that I like will just go with my gut in life, and other things that I like overanalyze. Movies and series and things like that, because I don't have a lot of time, I overanalyze how I spend that time, where my attention goes. But Breakfast Club popped up, and I was like, hit it, go.
Gotta do it.
And it was such a good movie. I'm like, well, duh. It got all these awards, and it was so well known and recognized for its era. I think it was 1984. Phenomenal movie. Did not expect the depth. The movie is really deep and emotional.
Coming of
actually.
age.
It's it's very good, and it stands the test of time. I highly recommend the watch if you haven't seen it. It's before my time, right? It's the generation before us, but I loved it. And I mean, talk about political incorrectness. Oh my God, they said whatever they wanted to in that movie. You know, but highly recommend it. And
What kind of examples?
of
Political incorrectness.
Yeah, could you just repeat
like,
it
remember
word
the
for
F word as a kid?
F-A word,
Yeah.
not the
F-A.
F-U.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
Like that one.
No, go ahead.
There
say
was
it. I
even like
forget.
the guy, the main guy
can
who
clip it.
plays the guy who plays the broken character, you know, like the troubled one. He's really troubled, right? But like everyone knew a really troubled kid in their school, and dude, he was like making references to like rape in the movie. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna close the
Like
door and
in jest.
bang you right now to the hot prom queen girl." Like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, "Whoa, what is happening?" Like you can't say that. And then I was like, "Oh my God, maybe people did talk like that."
And there was
in
no trigger
1984."
warning, or
It was hardcore. There was just a lot of stuff like that. And in general, it's just it's a very interesting. There's 5-6 characters, and they represent all the archetypes in high school. There's a jock, a prom queen princess, a nerd dork, a troubled kid, and like a loner girl. And they're all just, she's so quirky and so weird, and they all just like learn about each other, and it's all on one day, detention on a Saturday, and you know it's the Breakfast Club, and they learn about each other, and
That was cool.
It's a really interesting movie.
Who does
It's really well
attention on
done.
a set?
My wife
It's
will just
super
X-nay
nostalgic.
it based on the visuals.
Yeah.
If it looks like an old movie,
I know some people are like that, but like, okay, so some old movies actually kind of are bad. You watch them and you're like, this is just
I
like
thought
pure
it would
nostalgia.
be
It doesn't hold
corny.
up.
It's not corny.
No, like a lot of them are really good, and a lot of old movies they're just so much better because they couldn't rely on any crutches, right? Like now they just throw like CGI at shit, and then you get like the Marvel's Avengers Part 9, and the movie's
Yeah,
fucking
like
terrible.
the budget
but
for
it's
this
just
movie
got
was
CGI.
probably nothing.
Yeah,
It's literally just characters on one day in one school.
yeah, good character drama.
Yeah,
All right, let's play the bills real quick, and then we get back into it.
play the bills.
Pay the
Pay-
bills.
pay-
Play
the bills.
play us out.
Play us out. Play us out. What's that fucking mean? Steven, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking old fashioned in which the cube is completely melted. So
Oh, did you go with the 3 or less cubes?
I put 1 cube in, but it was only like half of the thing filled up. So yeah, it's kind of
All
awkward.
right, this side's
Yeah,
Old fashions?
Steve and I are old fashioned buddies.
what do you got over there? Some Pacificos?
Pacifico.
Okay.
I refilled us with the Buffalo Trace. We're out of whiskey.
Oh, thanks,
Oh.
man.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
I like Buffalo Trace.
Great go-to whiskey.
I mean, Buffalo Trace is just the best whiskey for the dollar, I think.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Well, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Check out the pre-alcohol on zbiotics.com. Use the code alfalfa to get 15% off. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back. The pre-alcohol saved me this morning. It was my wife's birthday last night, so we went to dinner. I had a few glasses of Sancerre. That's a white wine you referred my way, Stephen. And
You a sincere man now?
yeah, I am. I kind of like it.
All the rage these days.
Yeah, it is.
It's so popular now that I don't like it anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Jumped the shark. But anyway, I got up 5:30. Felt nothing. Felt great. So shout out to Zbiotics for creating the
nothing.
pre-alcohol.
Not
yeah.
the nothing I feel something.
Yeah, not like an emotional nothingness, like
That was incredible.
the good type of nothing. Zbiotics.
not an emptiness.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's the genetically engineered probiotic that takes care of that nasty toxin acetaldehyde
Yeah, I was
from
not ready.
alcohol. You weren't ready. You weren't ready. So yeah, you take it a few hours before you start drinking, and then you wake up feeling nice and bright and bushy-tailed. So yeah, try it out if you haven't already. Know most of you had. I think it's one of the best inventions in the world. It's a shame it's not wider known. So
Well,
we're doing
apparently
God's work.
people are starting to copy us with the sponsorship, and
Some
trying
big
to-
names are
some
on there.
big names getting Zbiotics out there now. But we were early. We bought the stock early.
Tastemakers.
Yeah.
Tastemakers.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
early to a lot of things here.
So use the code alfalfa at checkout. It supports Zbiotics, supports the pod, and thank you, Zbiotics. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, Monday, I had this decision to make, the nothing thing, which took me back to 2 days ago, because they were doing like the big tariff announcement. You know, I mean, there's an announcement every like 3 days now, but if you recall Monday, there were some announcement, and like there was this thing like Besant was going to go on CNBC at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, do I stay up really, really, really late, or do I wake up early? So I decide, like, okay, I'm going to just wake up at 3 in the morning. So I go to bed at like 9 p.m., wake up at 3 in the morning, rugged. They did the announcement at 1 a.m. Market was already up 3.8%. And then I was just like, I hate everything.
You know what?
am
It's actually
dead
funny you
inside.
mentioned that because I actually saw you either texting us or posting in the Discord at 4 in the morning. I was up because of my freaking daughter who won't fucking sleep ever.
Your
And-
freaking beautiful daughter.
And I was like just doing what I'm doing. And I see Steven up at 4 a.m. posting. I'm like, God damn, this guy is getting it.
Yeah.
I'm
Ambitious.
I am burning the candle at all
Every end.
12 ends right now.
Good.
I have a dodecahedron candle. It's like there's too many ends to burn, you know?
What we're going to talk about, you had like a little hack you want to talk about first?
Well, it comes after.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm out of order. Sorry.
Yes, you're out of order.
Where's
Out
the
of
gavel?
order.
Order.
Keep this pod together.
Okay. We're going to talk about how to get rich.
Yeah.
You guys know
Yes.
anything about that?
We never talk
Does
about
anyone
that.
know anything about this? I don't know
I
anything about
certainly
this.
don't.
Okay.
Let's start high and then go low.
Okay. we'll go high.
Was this Armand's thing?
How do you
I
get
think
rich,
this was just like a
guys?
general topic. Like,
Well, it started
no,
with the
it
book.
was a book. We're gonna talk about a book.
oh, you're right.
I am currently reading a book so I opened Twitter for the first time in a while.
And you scrolled
And
through some
I saw
white
some bad
supremacist
stuff.
shit, a couple guys dying. And
Yeah.
then
And I was like, oh, Steven was right. It's bad. And I had to like mute some things. And then I see this, I follow I have this great follow. I wish I could tell you. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's a great follow. He talks about tech a lot and very interesting things, AI, but it was like a, thread on getting rich and like what are the best resources and books. And a lot of people liked this comment about the book How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. And I was like, never heard of that. I've read all the books on, like all the famous ones, right? I was like, okay, that's under the radar. It seems like a deep cut. I'll look it up. Felix is the founder of Maxim and a bunch of different magazines, computer, PC, tech magazines.
Maxim.
Like was a mogul.
forgot about Maxim.
Maxim was like a staple.
God, that
yeah,
was-
staple in
That
the
was a shit when I was like 17.
yeah, a young man's life.
Oh yeah, boobs and cars.
yeah,
I mean, honestly, good
fully
for him,
clothed
right?
boobs though.
Good for him. Like
Tasteful boobs.
picked his
Yes, Maxim was very tasteful.
yeah, it was like a couple degrees before you get to like Playboy, right? It was just enough. And the book is I'm maybe I'm more like a third of the way through, so I can't speak on the full book, but the book is really well done. Like
Great book.
Instantly
Hilarious too. It's
it's
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's very
'Cause
entertaining.
He's a poet.
Yeah.
And so like his whole thing, he goes through so many different things, right? If you guys have read it, you can speak to it more, but I already understand the promise of the book, at least in terms of what he's presented up front. But it's amazing because he's kind of going through like what really is rich, how much is really rich, and he has all these frameworks for defining that in terms of your liquidity, in terms of your net worth, and how you can actually utilize your assets and like
Yeah, people
the
don't do that very
trade-offs
often.
and
People like speak to wealth esoterically all
yeah,
the time.
and he's like, what really matters is like, and he talks about how like many of the richest people in the world couldn't pull on $50 million if they needed to, and they might be worth 500 million, $1 billion. Like they don't really have the money; they'll borrow, blah blah blah. Then he goes into like how to do it and what vehicle to choose to get rich, and then what do you do once you are? Like, do you just play the game forever? And that was the most interesting part of the book so far, is like how he eventually decided to live his rich life and to stop just playing the game of operating the businesses, becoming the owner, getting out of the way, and so on. And then, of course, goes into how to get capital and how to find the right investors and attract the capital, and should you attract capital, and so many things. But really well done because he's this absolutely hilarious guy. And the person narrating the audiobook is like, this
It's like a British accent, right?
British
Yeah.
accent, kind of pompous, poetic, like really old school vibe. And it's just entertaining.
Did you get to the part where he's talking about, okay, if you're an entrepreneur, never give up your equity?
Yes.
He's big on it, and it kind of blew my
Yes.
mind. He was like, don't give up a single % of equity. You own the whole thing. And I mean, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
don't remember him saying don't give up any. I do remember him saying maintain as much as possible.
Okay.
To create real wealth.
Okay.
And he really goes at people and says like, look, if you want to be rich, you got to be an owner.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way.
Yeah.
And he really goes hard on this idea of like statistically, like breaking down the chances of becoming super rich and how unlikely
He's talking
it
hundreds of
is.
millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, like for him, super rich is very rich is like 50 million plus. Super rich is like the 100 million plus. And he's like, really, to get to these levels, you're talking about a level of sacrifice, a level of dedication, and a level of like never giving up that most people don't even bother doing. So he says yes, while statistically it's a huge lottery to become that person. It's very unlikely that you become that person. But the reason that it's possible is because you picked up this book and you want it, and if you're actually willing to pursue it to that degree and play the game, he's like, there's not that many people actually going for it. And if you really view the competitive landscape accurately, everyone who's against you is the people that are just going to be jealous because they don't even want to bother playing the game. And so you're really playing against those people to not sabotage you. But the direct competitors are the ones that are actually trying to play the game.
Do you think that still holds true? Because he wrote that book. I remember reading this when we were in college. So like that was even more true 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Shark Tank kind of phenomenon turned everybody into like ownership mentality.
That's true. Yeah. There's been a huge boom in entrepreneurship.
I feel like the game is overrated. Like, do you maybe I'm off base here, but I've never wanted to play that game because I've always viewed the game as like kind of negative EV. It's just like a giant survivorship bias. Like your odds of actually getting that rich, I think, are probably extraordinarily low.
Is that true? Because I think you want to be very rich. So then what game are you playing? What would you call the game you're playing?
What are you doing?
I'm clearly not trying to be that rich. No, I've never been like, oh, I'm gonna try to get like if I was trying to be worth like $1 billion, I would not be playing pickleball like 25 hours a week. You know, There's a lot of things I wouldn't do, and I don't do that because it just seems dumb to me. There's just like a giant survivorship bias. Like you only see the people who made it. You only hear the stories about the people who made it. I don't know like the number. Like if I could see the stats on the number of people who are like, I'm going to try to be worth $100 million, and then see like how many of them actually made it, that would be like very interesting. Actually.
Okay, I get you, and I think I 98% of the time agree with you, but I think there is something to the fact what Armand was saying, maybe what Felix Dennis is saying, that not that many people are taking those kind of swings, and you get asymmetric returns. So, like if you look at the 10 out of 10 girl at the bar, and you look around, there's no guy going up and talk to her. She's just hot, too hot, too intimidating, too out of reach, just not even going to try. And so, you know, you actually have better odds going and talking to that one.
I'm so glad you brought this example up because like whenever somebody says this, I'm just like, no, fuckface. Everybody doesn't talk to that girl because they're gonna get fucking rejected by her. Which is true.
Okay.
Which is true. Which is also true.
Narrative that like, oh yeah, if you just go up to talk to that super hot girl, nobody else is doing it, so you'll succeed. Wrong.
You could potentially be friend zoned for
hot
years.
She's way too hot for you.
But Jeff Bezos has something that says like, you know, you kind of swing for home runs, and in baseball you can only get, 4 runs max, right? You can get a grand slam. But in business, when you swing for home runs, you can get 1,000 runs, 10,000 runs, 1 million runs in one swing. So maybe there is something to like, there's not that many people taking them. In the outsized, asymmetric rewards, kind of all balances out to making it worth it. Now, when we get into like, what do we all think the best way to get rich is, it's like, my advice is going to be the exact opposite. But I think there's something to balance your argument out.
Bro, the best way to get rich now, I feel like, is to like hop around companies and just stack equity, like while you make like 300K
the surest way to
like
get
that
rich.
is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Like if you could figure out how to put yourself in that position, which I did not do early on in my life, so I had to do other things instead.
These people are owners in the sense that they get stock.
Yeah,
that's the critical
but
component.
that won't ever get you to 100 million. That'll get you to like
it'll get you to 10.
A very comfortable life.
Some people
It'll get you
to
to
100 million. Some people get lucky.
If their company gets really,
I mean,
successful.
you get a very comfortable life that way, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my whole thing is like, if I had to redo it, rerun it back, I wish someone would have told me when I was like 19, like, hey, you don't have to create your own company. You can just hop on someone's rocket ship after all the risk is kind of gone away. They've got product market fit. They're growing like 50% year over year. Maybe I think the best stage is like
Pre-Series A.
Maybe. I was actually thinking more like
for
two
the maximum
years before
upside.
IPO. Yeah, maximum upside.
Maximum
I agree.
upside.
But I think like the surest way is 2 years before IPO or even after IPO. Like Google, post IPO, you would just
Dude, think about all the NVIDIA employees.
exactly.
Just printing.
Now they weren't printing for a long while, and it just
They
kind
couldn't
of
keep people because everyone was too rich.
Right.
Recently, in the last few years.
so.
Yeah, it's a funny problem. Yeah, so all the janitors left because they're all worth $8 million.
Like I think you're right. There's probably like a 99% founder mortality rate, and so you can potentially have massive upside with no risk. Like you're saying, making several $100,000 a year. I came up with a list of companies that like right now to me fit that. Databricks, probably sub 2 years from going IPO. Stripe, Klarna, CoreWeave just went.
I was gonna say CoreWeave.
Anduril, probably not close to IPO, or maybe they won't ever, but like they might have some liquidity events.
Great
Canva, private company,
good one.
scaling. Circle,
Yeah.
printing cash.
Yep.
Rippling is like a HR software. Coinbase, I still think they're known for just like shoveling out compensation.
Less now.
Or stock-based
Less
compensation.
now,
Okay.
thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully they kind of toned that back. But like if you would have got in a couple years after the IPO, you just could rain down on stock-based compensation. OpenAI, I don't know. I mean, I think that's still a good chance. We had a friend also named Nick who's kind of like on this path that we're talking about, and he was open to going to OpenAI after going from Google and other places. Cursor, any robotic company. I mean, I think that, man, if you can get on there, and the best part of it is that the easiest path is typically like sales, which doesn't really require any sort of like
Technical
background or academic training. You just got to like be willing to learn and be open to working on yourself, personal development. And you might have to start your brother who's at Databricks and our friend Nick, they started, smiling and dialing, in Cubicle, taking, internal type sales. And then eventually they just graduated like, here's our 5 biggest accounts. And you're just going to make probably like $300,000-$400,000 a year, and you're going to have some targets, and you'll make more money if you hit the targets. And then we're going to just give you, 50% of your comp and stock-based compensation, and you're just going to rack up equity, or if pre-IPO, RSUs. We had a friend who lives in New York who worked at early on in Lyft. He just stacked up RSUs, and then they went public, and, he was able to kind of cash them in. So I don't know. I feel like that is the surest way to financial freedom. It's not 50 million.
And with him in particular, he was that like post-seed, pre-Series A spot that I'm talking about.
He was top 10
became very
employee.
rich as a result of it, So, yeah.
I mean, dude, sales is like the GOAT career. It's got to be like one of the most
Right.
AI-proof
Enterprise
things,
sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a
people don't
want
wanna do it.
People do. Yeah, most people are bad at it.
Mm-hmm. All the nerds don't want to do it.
Right.
They're stuck in the sales engineer position while you're in the like actual salesperson role.
Yeah.
We know some of those too.
And the demise of that person is to accept a sales manager role, Like,
Oh, that's
you gotta
even worse,
stay
yeah.
in the
Rainmaker
pure
role.
sales
You got to be the
role
rainmaker.
Eat what you
and
kill.
get the best territory or the best accounts. Enterprise sales, like if you can be at one of these companies and just
I create
manage key accounts.
a little like grid.
I mean, that was my life until I left it.
Yeah, I know you were at 3M initially, right?
3M and then Google.
And
same
Google.
thing.
Yeah, same.
Well, I moved out of sales when I got to Google, but I know that world.
Wait, you know what this whole thing is like to me? So the problem with this discussion is that your sample size of life is like 1, right? Like if I had a sample size of life of like 100, like I could live like 100 lives and like live through all of them, then I might swing for the fences. But like you get 1, so it's like it's analogous to this. Like if I offered you this like thing here, where I was like, okay, Nick, you can choose 2 options. I can give you $10 million, or I can flip a coin, and 50% of the time I'll give you $200 million, or you get nothing. Most people would just take the $10 million.
Do I have $10 million already?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
then I take the $10 million.
You're at the point when you would be embarking on this. I'm going to start the journey of like grinding my way to like $100 million, right? Like most people would just take the 10 mil. But that's kind of what this is like. You're like taking like a sure path to basically get to 10 mil. Like, and I think if you do these things, like you can basically guarantee in your life, if you work hard, that you get to $10 million. Or you do this high variance route and maybe you get to $1 billion, but maybe you crash and burn and do all this other stuff, and your life, like you give away all these other things trying to get there.
Yeah. And there's like optimizing things around this path. So I had a friend, Derek, he was early on in Uber. He helped set up like the operations for UberX, and he was really close with Travis. So he racked up stock, right? So he got in a good company at the right time. And then what he always did, even though he wasn't looking for a job, he was constantly interviewing. constantly. He was knew all the recruiters, and he would just go and he's like, it's the best way to network. I meet CEOs, I meet hiring managers, and then sooner or later he just get a job offer that was like so compelling at the next hottest startup that's in that stage of like Series A, Series B. He's going to get a fuck ton of stock-based compensation, and he can negotiate it because he literally wasn't trying to leave. And he probably went like 3, 4, maybe 5 startups, like you said, collected equity along the whole way, took $0 risk. You know, was he stressed out during his job? Yeah, he was put in like high pressure operating roles, but still, like he was getting paid above average salary the entire time, and he's just like collecting the equity as it starts to like liquidate now.
So would you guys recommend that strategy for anybody, even if you're not working at Uber? You're just like constantly interviewing. Is that just like the strategy?
Probably. I think so. Like, obviously, if you have pedigree, in this case, Uber is pedigree because it was kind of like the fast growing company of the time. But if you can go work at a Facebook or a Google, even as like a customer service rep, like
Just put that on the resume.
you have pedigree, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy who is a professional like interviewer,
Okay.
and he'll do the interviews, get offers, and then either jump and like double his income or utilize that to get a raise. And he just does that. He literally has like a spreadsheet going of like he's always interviewing. Always interviewing. Even when he's happy with his job, he's always interviewing.
Like a nightmare for a business owner.
Exactly. And like you look at I think there's like some economic data that shows like job switching. And when the job switchers are the people who earn the most money. I hope none of my employees are listening to this, by the way. Yeah. Can they hear?
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do.
But yeah, I mean that's like an easy win.
Job switchers. And we talked a lot about sales, but obviously if you have interest in the technical world, like being an engineer that's what's going to make you the most money. Like $600K per year, pretty much guaranteed working for one of these big companies.
All like everything
senior
all in,
engineer.
right?
For the
Like,
next
all
2
in.
years until you're replaced.
I think if you maintain your position as a top 1% engineer, you'll be fine for the next 10. But yeah, it's going to get messy. Maybe less than 10. Maybe like by 2032, like we talked about last time.
Well, we're all gonna be dead by then. So
we went over that last pod.
But you have 7 years.
This whole conversation is moot.
You have
We should
7
just be
years
spending it all in the next 5 years
to get very rich. So, you know.
There was one part in the book. This was 20 years ago, but I remember this distinctly. It stood out to me. He was talking about how to get rich, but one of his tenets was like not blowing your money. That's like one way to get rich is to like, or one way to stay rich is to not just like leak all your money away.
Didn't follow that one.
Okay, Steven didn't follow, but he said that like money gets wasted by rich people on buying private jets, on yachts, and on women.
Does not sound like a waste, but
And
go on.
he says, I think it was like a chapter title or something. It's like it stands out to me. He says, if it flies, floats, or fucks, always rent.
Oh, is that where that comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a whole area about it. Like, I think it's like spending on your ego. The sooner you can realize that like there's gonna be people who make more than you, there's gonna be people who make less, and you just have to not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And actually like, and you know you're there when you're genuinely happy for people who like crush it. You know, like just like blow it out of the water, even in your same industry. Maybe it's your competitor and you know the guy, and you're just like, if you feel genuinely happy for them, you know you're like reached that point where
That's when you know you have enough.
yeah.
So I want people asked, and I want to ask like the enough question. Like we haven't talked about that in a while. Like, what's the number for you guys where you're like, enough? Like you would choose to stop playing the game and do your version of what he did, which was like, I'm just gonna be in my beautiful homes. I have my 5-6 homes. I'm gonna write my poetry. Maybe it's playing my pickleball and my piano. Like, what's the number where you're, you know?
I mean, this question is so good. I think this is like alluding to like our one deeper topic. I think like I can give you my answer, but I think there's a bigger thing at play here, which is like I think most people don't ever have enough, and that's an issue. That's like the big problem is that like people, particularly Americans, get stuck in a rut. The rut is this idea that you are like bred to strive and achieve always, and that people forget that like there's other things in life, and you're just like constantly on this like one lane.
I think it's better asked if you say, "What would you tell someone else?" Like,
But it's so subjective, isn't
totally.
it?
That's why it's like, "What would you tell someone else?"
I don't
should
know
be
if I
enough.
would tell someone else because our lifestyle desires are so different. I do want to fly on private jets. I do want a life staff. I do want a home in Queenstown and a penthouse in New York City, and my big main home, and I want
40
I
million is a
like-
nightmare.
40 minutes is such a nightmare.
It's an absolute nightmare. It sounds like one, right? The way I talk about it. I mean,
the
way
carry on those homes is probably like 3-4 million
if
a
you
year.
consider how old the book is, he kind of talks about 10 million being a nightmare. He's like, it's kind of a nightmare. And like, you get rich and you have all these money managers and advisors, and next thing you know, like, you don't feel as rich and you just keep playing the game. And he went through that. He was like, I got unhealthy, addicted to horrors, and next thing I knew, I was like not living the life that I could have stopped, but I didn't. And then eventually he stops, and he's like, takes a break for 5 years, and he's like, okay, I should write this book and kind of like share how I stopped. But it's different for everybody.
10
It's so
million
different.
is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like this I can't believe I just said that. But like I get how that happens, you kind of get to that number and you're like, wow, I'm so fucking rich. But then like the year you got to that number, maybe you made like a couple mil, and then like a million goes out in taxes, and then you're below 10 already, and then you buy a house, you do this other stuff. And then you start going down a path, you develop some expensive habits. And then the next thing you know, like your overhead balloons, and then maybe you make a couple dumb investments, you get a little loose. Now your 9 million becomes like 8, becomes 7. Now you're like, oh fuck. And now you've kind of bloated.
You're stressed.
You're stressed. You've taken off all this stuff, and you're not rich enough where you just be like, write it off. And then you mentally were like, oh, I'm at this thing, and I can go to this level now and do all this stuff. But actually, you just like kind of fucked yourself, and now you're trapped, and you took up all this other stuff, and now you can't go back because you already like kind of set your foot in that door. You already kind of like declared to the world like, oh, I'm kind of rich now, and then you can't like downgrade your house. You can't.
Ooh, that's the biggest trap. Once you
Yeah.
tell people,
Oh yeah, you never
biggest
tell
trap
people.
ever.
Never.
You
tell
know,
people.
a lot of it is how you get it, right? So if you're
yeah.
accumulating, but your lifestyle is increasing alongside the accumulation, I think you're really fucked. Naval talks about this idea of like the greatest blessing that could happen to you is you have windfalls of cash and you don't rely on income, a consistent income. A windfall of cash is a blessing because you have to reevaluate everything, and you might adjust up your lifestyle to a certain degree. But if you made $15 million, $20 million, you're most likely not going to just go crazy all of a sudden. You'll adjust in increments along the way. So I think a windfall is a great scenario, but it's also great to just like build a portfolio that gets to 10 and then 15 and 20 million over time and up, but without, falling into the hedonic treadmill trap of like, okay, now I can do this and do this and do this. And then all you're doing is trying to sustain that lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it in California, you get $10 million, you can basically get like 500 or 600K a year and kind of like revenue off of that, right? But then half of it's gone. You got 300, and 300 is enough to like.
Oh, you're not investing in the mailbox money? You have to pay money on your. Okay, sorry. Thought you learned nothing.
Don't derail me.
I'm sorry.
But like,
Christ.
but yeah, then you have 300, and that's like you buy like a $2 million house. That's not even that's nothing around here. That's like a 2,200 square foot house. And now like 150 of that is gone in mortgage and tax, and now you have like 150K, which is like gonna.
I don't think you can afford a nanny with that.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Like that money in California, it gets incinerated.
There's no
fast. It's
staff.
incinerated.
Well,
Not
like,
even one.
You have to make 10 mil, and then you have to live like you have to continue living.
You have to track a budget.
Yeah, you have to live in like a very austere lifestyle still, and then
You
it's
still
like
have
enough.
to.
Then
You still
like,
have to
breathing
question
room.
how your wife is spending money at that level.
Yeah,
I want to get to the level where I don't give a fuck what
you don't
spends the money
think
on.
about this in advance. So you don't
Yeah.
think about all the ways it gets eaten up, and then you like, oh, you expand too much, and then you're like, oh God, what have I done? And then
Yeah. Well, I'll answer the question first. That's why my answer is a huge amount of money because I don't want to think about these things ever again. I mean, like my real number is like 25, but my desired number is like 50 plus. And like, how do you do that? I don't think you do that through investing. You need a large windfall of cash. You need an exit or two, and you need severe ownership levels. And the acquisition needs to be for 9 figures or close to that.
And you can't necessarily get there going the path that we talked, like the hopping from Facebook to Google to Uber or whatever, right?
Not to that level.
Not to that level.
But back to your windfall comment, Eric in the chat mentioned, he said, like, what about lottery winners? Those guys tend to go broke.
That's what I was thinking about when he said that.
I didn't resonate with the windfall thing.
To me, it was
like,
the
that
opposite.
I felt like the opposite was true.
But the windfall earned versus not is a huge differentiator. Like a windfall that is earned is like a responsible person who worked their whole life to achieve something has a windfall versus like a lottery winner who maybe doesn't have the education, the resources, and the network to advise them is going to blow that cash. Honestly, the same thing applies to athletes. Athletes earn the money for sure. They're working for it. Being an athlete is a job, don't get me wrong. But the amount of money that they're earning is so insane, and they're surrounded by peers that are not managing their money well. So Shaq talks about this a lot, right? Like you're surrounded by a bunch of fuckos that are telling you the best thing you can do is buy 3 Bugattis. And then next thing you know, you're bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't work either. You need the right people in your court, the right advisors, and Shaq has proven himself to be a phenomenal money, manager and investor.
There's some crazy stat, like 80% of professional athletes end up in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That was like according to ESPN,
Absolutely
30 by 30.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, did you watch
Absolutely
that
crazy.
30 for 30?
Yeah.
One
It's
of
called broke.
One of the NFL players he's talking about, he's like, I was literally on my way to pay for my alimony check, and I drove by the dealership. I just had to have it. I had to have the new car. So I literally went and spent my most recent check. Instead of going pay for alimony, I went and bought a new car cash. And you're like watching these grown men tell these stories. And granted, they weren't grown men when they made these mistakes, but
That's part of the problem is that these athletes are like 21 years old.
Yeah. But a business owner who's been working for 10, 20 years to achieve a great outcome has been mentally preparing for that outcome the entire time. And so, they're not surrounded by fuckos. They're not a fucko. And think, how many business owners do you know that have a big windfall of cash that completely blow it? Only the one that you looked at and you already knew they were going to blow it because of the way they were living, even when they were trying to flex that they were rich when they were not.
Exactly.
That's the guy who blows it when he has the windfall. But everyone else has that windfall. They tend to do well. And then what do? They reinvest it. They start another business. They tend to do well.
I get this.
Like Felix.
When I was 24, I remember I had like an insane week playing poker, and I made $1 million in a week. And
Hell of a week, sir.
I saw you at the nightclub that weekend.
Yeah, I was definitely at the nightclub that weekend.
Yeah.
And I was always like kind of like a responsible person, but there was a part of me that never felt like I felt weird about the money. Like I didn't feel like I had earned it because it just came so quickly.
I would say it's equivalent
And
of like
a part of
winning
me
the lottery.
like felt like guilty about it, like I didn't deserve it. And I did like a lot of dumb things with it. I didn't buy like a Bugatti with it, but like I was like loose with it. I put it in some dumb investment. Like I didn't feel like I had like really earned it, even though I did. Like I had spent years like studying the game, but like it's not like it just came so fast and so easily. And like I was young, and I just I felt like this loose attachment to it. Like I didn't like hold on to it. Like if I had just taken that money and just squirreled it all away immediately in the S&P, like I'd just be retired right now.
I noticed that same phenomenon with like crypto people, like NFT traders and stuff back in 2021, where they would like have like so much paper wealth, but they would treat it so differently than if it was like real money, I suppose.
You see this among professional, like I hung out with a lot of professional gamblers, very loose with money. They do not like versus you hang out with like real estate guys who've like slowly grinded up tens of millions of dollars. They're like freaking misers.
Yeah. Nick really tight with the nickel.
I mean, God, like
I mean, it's a part of the ethos of gambling. Like that's literally in the DNA.
I feel like the S&P was like $600 when I did that. Is that right?
No.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
Don't.
No.
I hope not.
Wait, no, I actually wait. Yeah, no, I think so. Wait, what year was this? This is 2008.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah,
think-
2008. When I made the S&P was $800. So I just put all that in the S&P.
Jesus.
S&P 6,000 now. That's crazy, actually, that the S&P was 800 back then.
Wow.
Damn.
Woof.
I know.
Hey, we're at 6,000.
Deep bear market.
I mean, not almost.
Okay.
Almost.
I had like
almost back, baby.
a similar amount. Like in our business, we just started distributing cash every month, and it kept going up and up and up. And it was post-tax money because we had the tax payments inside the company. And I was like, oh wow, this is growing, kind of around the amount you're saying. And I think that first amount I invested in the dumbest ways possible. I even went to like a financial advisor, and he was like recommending individual stocks, and I was like, well, I guess this is what you're supposed
Hell
to do when
yeah,
you're
baby.
rich. And then like put in this like closed end money in a closed end fund and this, and then like started talking to someone who was actually really rich, and he was like, what are you doing? He's like, why are you talking to this guy? Like, I know him. What are you doing?
I know him.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's a financial advisor. He's got a bunch of wealthy clients. He's like, oh God. And he's just like, let's go for a walk. Takes me for a walk. We talk for an hour, and he's like, just keep it simple, kid. Like, you got a cash flow machine. You need to like slow your roll. You don't do any of these individual stocks. Don't invest in like private companies, closed end funds. It was, I don't know. But yeah, that first money was lit on fire, and probably would have been 10x.
Dude, I wish I had.
And-
Did you have like a mentor back then? I didn't have like
Not
I mean, I
like
still
an
don't
investor
really. I
mentor. No
never
one
really had one.
Had
It
like
would've been so
business
useful.
mentors, but not one be
Ugh.
like, this is what you do when you have money. You know?
when I grew up, I didn't know anybody who had money ever,
Right.
ever. And
You know, I said like I can be a bit of an algo. Like I have this document that, and in general, I'm always tracking and thinking about the people in my life and who are the experts in every domain and arena.
Smart.
Always ready for like who to call for a certain thing.
Whoa, you have a spreadsheet like that?
oh my god,
It's a CRM, dude.
So it's like who's the best, like by far,
What?
legal person, real estate person, financial advisor person, entrepreneur, and then like who's the one that has had exit at this level or that level and would advise me, who's the one that's been through like a merger of this type or an acquisition of this type, to just when you hit that moment in life to know who to pick up the phone and
I suppose
and call.
we're all doing that, like in our own mental Rolodexes.
But maybe
not-
subconsciously,
Yeah,
right?
it's-
Not intentionally.
My reaction was more visceral, but I think I'm also doing that. As you mentioned, all these
Because I think
domains,
it's critical.
I know who to call for
It's critical.
everything you
no, he
mentioned.
mentioned that he literally has like an actual Rolodex.
Yeah. I even have like a Rolodex of like dream people to work with and hire, like achieve X. I'm always thinking like 10 years ahead. And then you wake up one day and you are there and the moment arises, and it's such a nice feeling to know like, I was ready for this. I planned this.
A lot of the problems in my own life when I talk to you.
You don't like your positioning in the Rolodex.
I'm just like, oh, I don't do any of that. This explains a lot.
Yeah, but like,
what are we, dude?
but when you need
Where
to
do
do
we sit?
something, things just magically happen. So it's not
Yeah,
like
people
you say
operate
you don't do
differently.
that, but then, you need to ask
know
a
the
question.
people.
You need to raise money. You need this, technical expert. It just like happens. So like you've unconsciously, obviously done this.
Yeah, that's a personality thing. That's the way I
Yeah.
approach it. Some people just feel it in the
You're
moment.
the
and-
closet algo.
yeah,
Didn't
I
know.
might be.
Didn't know.
Oh, Nick and I have a lot of algo similarities.
Yeah.
He's just king algo.
Yeah.
Like algo diagonal, non-algo.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, yeah.
So if you guys are the
X.
investors, I feel like you should be the.
I know who to
Algos.
call. So is Steven. That's your point.
I don't think anybody's ever called me an investor.
Really? What do they call you, trader?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an investor.
I love.
I probably should.
I love
invest
when we're
more.
out in public in a group and like some random like woman or just random person goes, so what do you do? And I just look at Steven. I'm like, can't wait to see how you're gonna explain
What is
this.
what's going to come out of his
Yeah.
mouth?
I just tell them I'm a trader.
All right, you're a trader.
And then
And then you kind of have to like validate a little bit because like they're like, oh, he's one of those. He's
No,
one
I
of those
think it-
guys who thinks they can day
No,
trade
it
and like
depends.
make
It
money.
depends on who's
no,
asking.
they don't think that. Nobody thinks that. Like people who don't know anything about this stuff are just like, oh yeah, trading makes money. They
Okay.
don't think
No.
about it. That's stuff that like Eric thinks.
Yeah.
No, it depends on who's asking. Because I've been out.
That's stuff that I think. When
I've
people
been
tell
out
me
with
that.
Steven before, and like some woman comes up that he's not interested in, and he does not say I'm a trader. He says something fucking ridiculous.
I trade. He says I trade cartoons on the internet.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. I trade cartoons on the internet just to get her to fuck off.
Go away.
Little did
It's not wrong.
Little did you know that's what she's into.
She's like, oh, this is my favorite cartoon. And then he proceeds to look up that cartoon.
Is there a
and-
token?
And buy the token for the cartoon. So
Oh, I forgot about that.
who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Those are definitely signs of froth in retrospect.
What else did we miss about this topic?
No, we wanted to.
All I know is
transition to,
I like money more than I thought.
you
one
like
of the
money?
things,
Wow.
yeah. Well, one of the things the book does is, well, money is an emotional topic for people, right? And everyone has like a pretty interesting relationship with it, and a lot of it has to do with how you grew up with money. And a lot of people feel guilt about money and their relationship with money, and sometimes maybe you have a big windfall and maybe there's some guilt in it and you get rid of it quickly or you misuse it or whatever. And a lot of it comes down to like your relationship with money and how you grew up with it. And I was just realizing like the way he was talking about the benefits of money. I've gone through all these like waves and cycles in my life where I like really wanted it and then really was like, no, be more purpose and mission driven and focused, and the money will follow. And then now I'm like kind of in this mode again, especially with the way he writes and how poetic it is and the benefits and the freedom. I think it's incredible. And I like have this reignited passion for riches without guilt and to just, yes.
Yes.
And I think that it's very powerful because it's time freedom. But also, as Naval talks about, it's actually not time we're after; it's attention freedom, because it's it's about what you decide to give your attention to, not just the ability to have time. The time is one layer, 1 degree removed from the question of your attention, and so I want to give my attention to things that matter more,
Like a house staff.
like a house staff, or not to get too sappy, but like right now the amount of time I spend with my I have 2 daughters, but the one that I can like play with right now, who's 2 years and some change, is like there's 30 minutes in the day that her and I just every day we play, we laugh, we do the bedtime routine, I read her 3 or 4 books. It is by far the best experience of my day. To know that I could have hours of that in a day, one day, is worth everything.
I understand that. I'm just going to take the complete opposite take from you.
You
Because like
The opposite take? Like, that sucks.
No, I think that this is the Mexican fisherman parable. Like you can spend all the
he's already
time
there.
You can spend all the time with your
I
daughter
was
you want.
thinking the same thing.
Right now. I think that money,
but
like,
not with the.
no. I think that what's important. I hope we still get to this like Von Deeper, but maybe we're having it right now. Like the point that
What is the one deeper?
the point that I want to illustrate is that
It doesn't relate to this.
I thought it was this.
No.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
It is?
How do you find meaning when you no longer need to work?
No, that was the audible Von Deeper.
No, that was the Von Deeper.
You're mistaken.
No, that was
Yeah.
supposed to be the audible.
No, that
You
was
guys
it.
are not listening to me.
No.
No, the audible was Kanye.
No.
No, the audible was
No,
nostalgia.
Kanye was never on this.
The Audible was
I love when we argue over the topics.
No, nostalgia was the main thing.
Can I get to my point here?
Please.
Please. Can I get to my point?
Please.
My point about this is that I think that when you say you want all this money, I think you're ignoring the fact that there's like a utility function of money that like what's the term when it starts like
Diminishing returns?
diminishing returns. Yeah, like over time, like once you have sort of like 10 million, if your number is 25, like you're going to realize that to get to 11 doesn't actually add as much
I
to your
totally
life
agree with
as you like really think.
No, I totally.
Can
agree.
you, does anyone have like a good back of the napkin to know if you have enough? Like what's the like,
What is it like?
because people say the 4% rule. So it's
Yeah,
like,
well,
okay.
if you just like take all your cash and put it into treasuries at 4%, and that pays for your entire
11
lifestyle.
million.
Treasury.
But like, how do you
income
know?
divided
Like,
by
what
2.
if you live off $50,000 a year, which a lot of people do, and so they're like, so what's my number? Like, what do I need to like? And with the assumption that
Then
you
need
die
a-
with
then you
like,
need, like-
the last bit of money in your bank account, right? Like, Because I think the 4% rule
That
implies.
I don't like doing that because you're gonna run yourself down, then you're gonna get to the singularity, and you're not gonna have enough money to live forever, and you're gonna make a huge mistake. You can't do that. You gotta
Did
only
not
you gotta
put
focus
that in
on
the
the
formula.
income. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
doing these like reverse annuity things or whatever.
Yeah. Because that's the one that goes around the most. I feel like we need to create a new one. A new back of the napkin that's like better than the 4%
I
rule.
feel like the math isn't that hard.
What should the math be?
I like, to me, it's like entirely income based. I don't like to think about like dragging down the capital.
Okay.
Right? So then you just think about like the risk-free rate on it, plus a little bit, bump it up like a couple points.
All
and
right.
then just take that and then just put it in your tax bracket, and there's your income.
Okay,
if you
but
can
like,
live off that, you're
what
good.
if you don't own a house and you want to own a house eventually? So you need to transfer. You basically, are you saying turn that into like an income number,
But
a
as long
monthly?
as it's only income, then like your capital is like appreciating in the background. It should like go up over time and give you the money to do that. Like if you're just purely living on the income from the capital, and then you're just free rolling all the capital appreciation, you're good.
But what about, I don't know, there's like one-time expenses that happen in life. I mean, they happen in a given year, right?
Either
Like
you have to draw down the capital. That's fine, but it's just
That's
gonna be
okay.
a tiny nick, right? I mean, like you get like $10 million to like get your nest egg.
so you want a $4 million house. What do you do?
You shouldn't be buying the $4 million house if you're retired and that's your thing. You
Okay.
gotta let it go up to like 20 million first,
Okay.
and then you can buy your $4 million.
What if
house.
you could make 119% a year instead of 4?
That's
That
good.
would be nice.
Transition us off. I think we've beaten this to death.
Okay. How do I make 100% a year annually so we can just like fuck the 4% rule? Just give me the 100% rule. Like if I need, $500,000 a year to survive, how can I create that with just $500,000? Steven,
Yeah.
how?
So I don't know if I told you guys, but I ended up in this MicroStrategy Twitter group.
These are great, by the way. We should come up with all these little TikTok financial hacks and
Yeah.
give them the thumbs up or thumbs down.
What's this one called?
It's called Irresponsibly Long MSTR.
Yeah, there's like Sailor in there probably.
I don't think he is.
Okay, you should probably be in there.
But it's basically just a giant cope fest because like half the thing bought at like $400 and now they're break even, but Bitcoin's up, and like every post is just them bitching about how Sailor's diluting them every day.
Oh really?
I
I thought they'd be psyched because like I thought the stock was up like
No, it's
100%
giant
in
cope
like
fest. Everybody's
in a
like,
month.
why Bitcoin up more? When Sailor stopped diluting? It's terrible. I actually left it because it was just so insufferable. But like one of the things that went around in the group was the like there's a bunch of people who are like very into MSTY, and MSTY, for people who aren't down with the
Down with
obscure
derivatives?
ETFs, yeah. So MSTY is basically like this like ETF that seeks to do nothing but harvest volatility from MSTR and just pay you income.
yield.
Yield, straight yield, baby.
Premium, yeah.
It's designed to basically dilute your value to zero over time and just pay you out all the cash. It does this by basically just selling covered calls on MicroStrategy, and the yield is crazy. Like the yield on average over the last year has been like 100%, and right now it's like 130%. Right. So if you put like 100K into this, you're getting $130,000 a year in yield,
Assuming that the yield stays the same.
assuming that the yield stays the same, and then assuming that the value of your, because there's like a decay in like the value of, or at least there should be.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
If the stock price goes higher, then the NAV of the ETF will.
Yeah,
go
if Bitcoin
higher.
keeps going up a lot, then actually you're not really losing anything there. Yeah.
MSTR is
Yeah.
more important.
Same.
I mean,
same.
can you fast forward and just tell me what happens when Bitcoin and MSTR goes down?
So if Bitcoin and MSTR goes down and the volatility is still high, actually you do pretty well in this because you'd still be harvesting all the vol.
But are they harvesting the volatility by not only buying calls but buying puts too, or like how's
No.
No.
selling?
Okay, so no, yeah. So in this situation, like I am very familiar with this. Like Steven brought up to me yesterday, or brought up to us yesterday. But I was familiar with the Coinbase version of this. It was like CONY was the ticker symbol.
Yeah.
That one performed poorly because Coinbase, the stock went down.
That's what this guy says.
Yeah, the stock went down, and when you own this Yield Max ETF, you own a synthetic long, meaning like a synthetic common stock holding, and you sell covered calls on top of that.
Okay.
So you're exposed to downside. But as Stephen,
Because your underlying goes down.
yeah, the underlying price goes down.
Okay.
You
NAV goes
you're
down.
short a put. So like you go down like the stock does. But if you're earning 130% on premium, that can like more than absorb, a stock price fluctuation.
But what about doesn't you have the same issue if MSTR goes up? Aren't you kind of screwed as well? Because what I understand they're doing is buying like kind of near the money call or selling near.
No, you're not screwed. You're making a lot of money still.
You're making a lot of premium.
You're making way less money than had you just purchased MSTR.
Yeah,
but that's not the point of owning this in the first place.
Yeah, so you're both right. I think what happens here, like the mechanics of this are simple to me. It's sort of like what I've been screaming from the mountaintops, I guess, to you guys for 2 years is like harvesting volatility premium is like the name of the game. I don't like the way that the yield max does it, but the way that they do it is very similar to what I'm into. I think there's a way to improve upon it.
They go like one standard deviation.
We don't know what they do. They
No,
don't say what they do.
I know exactly what
you
they
can
do.
sort of.
I know exactly what they do.
How do you know? They don't tell you.
Yeah, it's in the S1. I just read it.
It's in the S1.
They said that they sell calls 0% to 15% out of the money.
Yeah, there's
on
a
a
range
month
of stuff
on a
they
monthly
do.
basis.
Yeah.
So on a monthly basis, selling 0% to 50% of the money is basically at the money in my eyes as a practitioner. It's like it's like way too close to the money for what I'm comfortable with, such that what Nick said is appropriate. Like you give up your upside for income.
Which is the whole point of owning this.
Yes, I agree. But I actually think there's a better way to do it, which is like what I've really been shouting from the mountaintops, which is that you can have your cake and eat it too, essentially. It's like, I like the upside of this. Like MSTR is a stock that I like. Like you can run this strategy on any stock. I mean, this is another thing I've been
You can do it on iBit in your IRA.
You can do it on anything. Like selling covered calls, particularly against a synthetic long position, is like something you can do on anything. The reason why MSTR is the best is because it has the highest IV. It's like got the highest premiums, and that's why you're getting 130% returns. That's good. But I'm getting 75% returns. I just calculated this morning because I wanted to see like what I'm getting. Selling something that I've never been capped on. Like this is like MSTY is the ticker. MSTY caps your upside. If you want to cap your upside on a stock that goes fucking mental at times, that's stupid. I go uncapped, in quotes, like I am technically capped, but I have been trading this thing for a year and I've never hit my cap, so I call it uncapped, and I'm still making 75%. That's way better.
So what are you doing? Like further than 3 standard deviations out of what you think could possibly happen to the stock?
No, it can't be that much. If
yes,
you're
typically.
75%.
Yes,
But then what's
typically.
your expiration date out? Like a month?
A week.
A week. Okay,
But
so you're doing weeklies.
I roll them over and roll
You
them over.
roll 'em over.
And that pays more than doing 12 monthlies.
I mean, if you do 3 standard deviations on MSTR, you're probably making like 20% a year, maybe,
Well, here's a caveat as well.
which is a lot.
No, first of all, it's more than that, but it depends on what your measurement tool is. This is an important thing to mention on like selling vol premium. It's like, what are you using as your denominator? Like, some people use the covered return.
I was going to ask you this, yeah.
which is like your entire notional principal you have exposed.
Sorry,
or is it
you're gonna have to explain that. Can you dumb that down a little bit?
Okay, well, let me just like explain the easiest one first. The easiest one first is like your account balance, right? If I made $1 million and my account balance is $1 million, I've made 100%, right?
Right.
But if I've sold $10 million worth of MSTR to make my premium, then I've actually juiced up my returns quite a bit. So there's like a different way to measure that. You can use a covered return, which is use 10 million as the denominator instead of 1 million.
Right. You're buying $10 million MSTR and then you're selling.
No. Yeah. Well, I still have a $1 million account value, but I've
Okay.
just sold a premium for $10 million. So it's like leverage.
Oh, I see.
And then another way to do it, which I think is the best way, I think I've like created this myself essentially because I've never learned this through
The
like
poor man's covered call.
no, it's essentially just like
I don't think he invented that.
no, I didn't invent that. But I took what practitioners use from like your world, like real estate that uses a lot of leverage, and you basically like what I was trying to do is to determine what was the return on this slice of my portfolio that held a ton of different assets. Because like my portfolio isn't all MSTR. I think like it'd be stupid too, but
Yeah.
it gets a lot harder to determine your return on a portfolio if there's like a lot of different levers that are contributing to it. So you use a return on the collateral,
Right.
a return on your collateral that's used. Like what collateral did I appropriate to this trade, and then what's the return
Which
on
is
that?
how real estate does it. Like
Exactly.
you return off the actual cash that you put in, not like after it's levered or whatever.
Precisely. That's where I drew it from, and that's what I'm calling the 75%.
Okay,
from.
guys, but I need to bring this conversation back into the realm of the 99% of people who are listening to this podcast.
Okay.
Two things on this. One, comparing this to owning MSTR and writing cover calls is silly. The better comparison is comparing this to like owning like bonds or cash. Like the whole point is like this is a part of your portfolio that's like maximizing for generating cash flow and minimizing downside vol. It shouldn't be compared to that. And the other thing is like most people listening can't execute the strategy you're talking about. Like you can execute it because you have expertise, right? But for a lot of people, okay, like a more extreme example of this is like people have created these like very interesting products where you can basically buy Bitcoin, have a guarantee that you will never lose money, and then basically make like 8 or 9%. And they structure this via options. It's like this kind of like zero downside thing. And
But
like,
also like restricted upside.
correct.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you just buy Bitcoin? It's like, well, the target person for this isn't somebody who would otherwise buy Bitcoin. It's somebody who's like investing in muni bonds or something.
Agree, which is why I always thought that these like even the convertible options that Sailor's always selling could be like good investments for a retail investor, and I'm confused why they aren't offered as such.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about the stock that you mentioned? So
MSTY?
Yeah. So let's just assume MSTY is at $100, right? I buy $1 million worth. It says it's giving 100% yield.
130 right now.
130. So let's say that first year it stays at $100, the stock price. I get $1 million.
Crushed. You got all your money back.
I got $1 million back, right?
Free roll.
Now, if it goes down to $10 for whatever reason, Bitcoin goes down, MSTR goes down, is the yield based off of the $10 or the $100 stock
Based
price?
off of the $10.
Okay,
it's
so
like
now
your
my yield is
balance decays.
$100K a year.
Yes.
Oof, and my principal is down 90%.
It's like an annuity, kind of, right?
No,
That sounds brutal.
no,
That sounds very risky.
Here's the situation, and
Why is that risky?
Because like I just put $1 million of principal at risk for, yeah, sure, I got 100% returns in the first year. I was lucky. But then Bitcoin and MSTR went down. Now my $1 million is almost gone, and I'm not getting like it's not a fixed income.
I mean,
product,
Bitcoin
right?
would have to go down so much for you to lose the entire principal.
Right.
Like,
I know. I'm just
it's
taking an
over.
extreme case to like make the point that it's
okay. So
there's a trade-off here.
yeah, Nick's
Of course, there's a
Nick's like
trade-off.
walking in a direction that I like, which is to say like in what situation is this a good like winning versus losing? Okay.
Let's talk about the situation where you make the most money. The best situation for this is like high volatility chop on Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Crazy vol goes sideways. In this instance, like MSTY is harvesting vol left and right. None of the calls are even getting exercised because it never breaks out of the range. It's just yield.
Disagree. This is actually how you get fucked.
No, it's not how you get fucked.
Yes.
No,
dude.
it's not.
Yes, because these things are path dependent. This is the actual problem. There's a path dependency to this because they sell capped upside. So if MSTR goes down by 25% and then you cap your upside at 0%, you actually can't go back to 100.
No, but you're comping it to owning the underlying. Yes, if you're comping it to owning Bitcoin, then the best case scenario is not that. It's
Okay, so then let's talk about the best case scenario. The best case scenario is we get a gradual, slow increase in MSTR. Like that way, you never lose your covered calls. You still collect a premium.
If you have a scenario where it just drifts up, vol stays high, and for some reason like it never hits, then
Yeah, it's the best.
that's
scenario.
like not ever happening.
Question: are they giving monthly dividends or quarterly dividends?
Monthly dividends.
Ooh, okay, that's a little better.
Monthly dividends.
That's a little better.
Like the way I'm thinking about this is like it's very interesting. I think if you're basically like I want to denominate in Bitcoin, right? But you're also like I want some of my portfolio in like cash, but I don't really want cash. I want like something else, right? Because then you can kind of have like say 70% in Bitcoin, or you can put 30% in this, and then even though if it's like say Bitcoin crashes, right? Your MSTY will go down a bit. But also now you actually kind of have like a bit of a cash option. Like you've got a bunch of cash in your portfolio effectively. This goes down way less than your Bitcoin, and you can kind of transfer in to buy Bitcoin.
Wait, can I just take like, let's say $250,000 and buy MSTY the day before the ex-dividend date and then sell it 2 days later? Can I do that and capture
Yeah, you can do that.
capture like 10% yield on it?
Yes.
Obviously, other people are doing the same thing. You might lose 10% in your
The stock price.
It's the same with like dividends
The
on
stock price
stocks, right?
adjusts directly
okay.
to
So
reflect
that,
that.
yeah, it just
It
happens.
probably adjusts even worse. to
even
be
if on a
honest.
day that Bitcoin goes up.
It probably adjusts worse because
Okay.
there are people trying to do this thing, and it ends up being
Okay, so the thing about this that really got me going, the reason I thought about this in the first place was because of that like Jason Williams post that we had on the screen where he's talking about somebody from Reddit like buying this on margin, which I thought was kind of hilarious, like margin buying this like yielding instrument. But then I was thinking like on interactive brokers, I think you can buy this with like 50%, right? So if you put like 100K down, you'd basically be getting $260,000 a year on your 100K.
This is like literally in one. I created a list of how not to get rich, and this is one of them. This is like I'll file this under TikTok TikTok investment schemes. just don't do this. If you want to get rich, just avoid this like the plague.
I think this is actually like a
I was going to
very
ask, like, what's
interesting strategy for like a portfolio. I don't think your whole portfolio
It's
should
a
do
tool
this.
in your tool belt if you know what the fuck you're doing.
I think having like 5% of your portfolio in this is like very interesting.
There we
actually.
go. That's what I wanted to know.
Like I'm going to do this, by the way. I'm actually going to do the more advanced version of it that we haven't talked about, where you're basically just doing it entirely with options. Maybe that's a little too deep, but the level 2 of this is basically you never buy MSTY. You just sell puts on it right before the dividend date, and then if you get exercised, you take the stock, but then you immediately just sell like covered calls on it for the next dividend date.
You should
and
just
keep
do
doing
that with MSTR. It pays way more. The IV is way higher. That's what I do.
I don't think it's that simple.
I literally do.
Bro,
it
you don't
every
work.
day.
You don't work
Because
anymore. Eric. You don't work anymore.
You have
Eric.
to own MST, but you have to buy MSTY to do it. You're exposing yourself to downside
I don't work anymore.
and MSTY and MSTR if you do that. It's like a different like risk profile, right?
I don't see how. Like MSTY can go down too.
Right, but if I'm just selling puts on MSTY and it goes down, I just make money. I just make my income. I just make money. That's the strategy starts just selling.
You're saying if you sell puts on MSTY and if it goes down below your strike price, you make money?
Well, I get delivery of a stock at a low price that I want before the dividend.
How is
and then
that
I get
different
the
from what I'm
dividend.
doing on MSTR?
Because you own MSTR.
When should
And
we interrupt
MSTR
this?
can go
When
down
should we
way-
let them go?
This is exactly what I do. What you're describing is exactly what I do. It's amazing. It's fucking incredible.
Irresponsibly long segment.
Yeah,
Have we gone too deep on this?
a little bit.
Do
A
we have
little
to
bit.
pull- All right, let's pull it back
There's
off
probably
the
like
rails.
8% of people who are like
I
actually.
think you can go.
stuff.
I think you can go deep as long as you also blue collar version it. You know?
So
The blue collar version is to just buy the MSTY. It's
No.
like a funny thing to have in your port.
like we both came to the same conclusion. The way to get
That's
rich
funny.
is to sell out of the money puts on MSTR.
No, that's way too complicated for like 99% of people.
Okay.
Eric, send the spreadsheet. You sent me the spreadsheet. It's actually not Okay, weekly is a little too much for me,
Yeah.
but monthly.
Selling puts on MSTR, like the downside of selling puts on MSTY is way less. Like you sell a put on MSTR and like Bitcoin tanks, you're getting fucking annihilated.
I like
It's literally the same thing,
my
dude.
It's not
keep it
the
simple,
same.
stupid is just selling way out of the money calls on my iBit in my IRA. Because all the income
that.
is like tax free. You do it once a month. You collect a little bit of premium, and just like over the time from now until when you're retired, a little extra juice.
Good one.
And if you actually get, called, your shares get called, you probably sold at the top anyway,
Yes.
right? So
Nick's playing the game right. So is Steven. He just doesn't know that I'm
I'm
talking
better
the
than
same
him.
game.
all right. So let's say you've used this strategy 10 years. You've taken your $1 million to $10 million.
There's just something in my brain that likes the idea that I can just buy 100K of this and have like 130K of cash flow coming in.
I mean,
That's the
who
power.
doesn't like
That's
the idea
the
of
power. Of
Can't wait for the
passive
narrator
income.
to come in.
Why don't we
I
do
did
this?
not give
Why
passive
don't
income.
we bookmark to revisit this in 1 month after your first little bit of cash flow and see where it's
God,
at?
you get all excited. I get
I'm doing
excited
this.
about
I'm
like
going full Reddit. I'm going full Reddit guy. I'm just buying 1 million MSTY on March.
Dude, someone dropped
Do
in the
it.
mailbox
like,
money
yeah.
money channel like
120K in income this month, boys.
I mean, I would love for you to come to the pod and tell us that. It'd be
Nick's gonna be
amazing.
like, "What's your net asset value?" I'm like, "Don't ask." 120K in income.
how much you get taxed on that.
Did you get
Don't
margin
ask.
call? Don't ask.
Someone in the mailbox money channel dropped like a general partner, like it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Anyway, I've been following him for the last 2 years, and I went back last night because our buddy Jason was like, "Hey, I did one of their deals. It's doing well." I was like, "What?" Went back, read all their updates. They have like this segment where all they do is senior housing. It's phenomenal. Like
Senior housing's killer.
Ooh.
so, but it's not like advanced memory care where like you're like providing intense medical services. It's just like a little bit of extra.
Senior living.
Yeah, they got elevators instead of
place to
stairs. And so the numbers are that it's like a 12% cash on cash. And
Very
maybe you're getting like another 8 to 10% appreciation over like the 5 to 7 years they hold it. So your
Very
IRR
nice.
is like 20%.
Steven's boner just went away.
Yeah,
You're right. I'm so soft right
See,
now.
like, yes,
Whenever Nick starts talking about like cash flow real estate, it's like Armand when I
Steven
start
was
talking about
like-
derivatives trading.
yeah, that's exactly correct. Steven was like this, and then he.
I'm just saying we get excited about different things, and I'm very excited about. I emailed the guy. I was like, "Can I get in the last deal?"
Some people like redheads, and some people like Latinas. You know.
I mean, like the truth is, I don't know if real estate deals have compounding like this, but if you compound money at 20% annually, you end up at like Warren Buffett levels.
But it's not annually. That's the thing with these deals. Like you get 20. Let's say put 100K in. You're effectively earning like an annual rate of $20,000 a year, but it compounds every 5 to 7 years. When you actually like sell a property, 1031 it, you compound. So the math, the hurdle of your annual return has to be higher because you're not compounding like daily like you are in the stock market.
Why is
right?
what you're doing better than just buying MSTR and then writing calls on it?
You know the answer to
The
that question.
downside?
Steve.
I was-
Like, yeah,
I was-
like the massive.
I was
downside.
talking to the
130%
lifestyle.
gives a lot of downside buffer. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
you're a 1031 till you die guy. I was talking to the lifestyle investor AI, our new customer Justin Donald.
Cool.
So yeah, for those of you that don't know him, he's like a Nick.
No, but he's
sort of.
like me times 100. Like he's
a very
done
successful
all the
guy.
different versions.
Yeah, he's
of
done
this.
everything: storage and multifamily, and just buying businesses outright as an direct, owner, but also as an LP, and many, 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 many things. He's been very successful. But he's got a book called The Lifestyle Investor, and we built his AI, and it should be launching soon. And anyway, I was like going at him, his AI, like talking about like Nick's strategy and like why he doesn't prefer to keep the principal in.
What do you say? Or what?
I mean,
did
his
say?
whole commandments are just based on getting the principal out and putting it back to work in a new vehicle continuously over and over again.
But that's 1031, right? Like you're basically putting it back in, except you,
You
don't
are,
pay taxes.
you are, but he likes things. He wants to get, and then we got into a nuanced conversation about that.
I mean,
I want you to talk to his AI and kind of debate together.
Can you just introduce me to the actual human? Nah,
Yeah, I could.
Might be easier to
He's
just
a
talk to
very
the
no, you shouldn't be, Justin.
No,
He's a
absolutely
very cool
not.
guy. I mean, if he was in town, he should come on the podcast.
No,
He's
you,
amazing.
You told me, and I was like,
He
oh, this
should.
guy's
We should get
advanced.
his opinion on
he's-
naked MSTY covered call strategy.
Whatever he's doing is working. He's very successful, and he's done very well with his money and teaches people how to do it now. So, yeah, I mean, I understood his perspective, though. It's like at that time there might be a better opportunity, and so I understand though the tax.
No,
benefits,
there's
like,
something
they're
to
very
say for that
clear.
because like I found myself like there's a good chunk of my portfolio that is illiquid. So
And he wants to optimize for liquidity.
yeah, and so I
the
found
right
myself
opportunity at any
like
time.
maybe I shouldn't do as many of these deals as possible because like it is nice to have liquidity. Like if you want to make a big purchase or something
Yeah.
bad happens or you just want access to your cash, like there's a good chunk that I just can't, I can never access. And so sometimes when general partners they did a good job on the first one, but they don't look that exciting going forward. Maybe they're changing their strategy, doing something weird. It's like, just take the cash out, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been preferring more liquidity in general.
But they give, yeah. Nice.
All right. So let's say you've made a $1 gazillion using Steven's
MSTY.
MSTY.
This is not a get rich strategy. This is a power of passive income strategy.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. That's
But let's say you made so much money that you don't need it anymore. Then what? Like how do you find purpose? How do you find meaning? Like you
But this can exist on scales, right? Which is kind of the point of the topic is like for different people being free and the desire to work can come at different points in their lives. And it doesn't take $50 million to feel that way.
But if you got $50 million now and you're like, cool, I know exactly what I already do with it. I know who I'm going to call. I know where I'm going to put the money. I know how I'm going to enhance my life. And you do it, but something's missing.
Or is it?
Yeah. Do you think something would feel missing after that?
Missing?
I mean, yeah, like you're just like not, think about it. For the first 40 years of
see.
your life, you would have been driving and hunting and striving and working and
Yeah.
grinding. And then all of a sudden you just don't have to anymore.
Well, I think I think it's a pretty sort of like once those needs are met, you're going to start thinking about yourself and happiness. How can I be happy? You know, I mean, I brought Naval up already twice today, but I think he simplifies it very well. It's like get rich so that you can then focus on yourself and just learn to be happy. And what that means for different people might be art, might be contribution, might be the humanities, might be, you know, you want to do some nonprofit work, some volunteer work, you want to, you know, build housing for the poor. I mean, whatever you want to do, but like, and maybe you just want to get deeper within yourself. You want to meditate more. You want to spend more time in nature. You want to, you know, become more spiritual. You want to have a better relationship with your God or whatever, your source for all things. I mean, I think that's what ends up happening to most people when they become post-economics. I know for me, I will always want to play the game to a certain level, for sure, guaranteed. It's just in my DNA. My mom's that way. I'm that way. My mom doesn't need to work. She loves to work. She loves to be creative. She loves to do things. She loves to stay busy. She's got 19 projects at all times. Doesn't need to. Got a jewelry business. She was architect. She's helping people with their homes. She's, you know, just constantly doing something. And I think I'm very similar. And I think I enjoy that. It gives me fuel. It makes me feel alive. It keeps my brain working. So I think I'll stress less.
But I mean, maybe like the three of us are wired this way, but I think we are. It might be presumptuous, but there's something that we're addicted to, and I think it's like always having something important and urgent to work on. And maybe it's not by design. We didn't design to do this, but like just on what we've been working on, there's something really important, urgent for you and you every day.
I don't have that.
But don't you feel that way in your startup? There's something always
No,
important
I
and
am
urgent.
committed to that today, to the urgent and important, but I don't have that as an addiction. My addiction is excellence and my potential.
But when that
It's a
drops
little
off
different.
from like 100 to 0, you don't think you're going to be like, where's the thing that's calling me
No,
to
I don't think
do
I'll
my
ever
thing?
run out of how do I achieve greater excellence and reach my potential.
Yeah,
But I will slow down.
this
You know.
this topic like doesn't resonate with me a lot because in my life, like my work, it's like already like priority like number 4. Like there's all these other things in my life that like I obsess over like excellence in that like actually come before like my work. So if like if I made a bunch of money, I didn't have to work, you'd be like, what do I do? I'd be like, I just keep doing the same stuff that I truly love.
Is piano and pickleball in there?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I could just take up for like most of the day just doing piano and pickleball for sure. Like I would have to insert some other stuff. It would get a little, empty after a while. But like I don't derive like that much about like from making money, and then like the making money.
No, it's not
goes
the
away,
making
and
money.
just,
It's that there's something important, urgent for you. For example, instead of just playing piano casually and playing pickleball casually, would you need a recital to do? So there's something important and urgent about getting better at the piano that like gets you going. And similarly, like you've been invited to competitive pickleball tournaments. You're like, I need this. Like I need this to like call me into action, to feel like
I have that.
I'm needed.
I have that in pickleball actually, because like I've built up this like pickleball is very cliquey. Like if you travel to like a new town, like you go to like the pickleball place, you hop on like the 4 or 5 court or something, and like people are gonna be like, like I don't know, man, the game's over there. Like nobody wants you coming in and wrecking their games, right? So
Can't
but
sit
then
here.
once you're in, they accept you, right? So I spent like years at this point, like building up like my circle, and like everybody just keeps getting better and better and better. So I feel this like need to constantly get good, because I'm like, if I don't get good at pickleball, like I'm gonna lose all my friends because they're gonna get better than me, and I won't be able to play with them anymore because they'll be like, oh God, Steven's playing like maybe we'll just start like a side text or something. It's my worst nightmare. So that would like that would always be like a fire. Piano, I just play for me.
I'm trying to maybe I'm still trying to understand the crux of our question. Is the crux of the question like, do you change as a result of the abundance of money? Does your priority, or how you does? I think maybe Nick, you're driving toward. Does how you show up in the world change as a result of abundance of money?
There's just nothing calling you to do anything anymore. Like no one's like, hey, I
there's,
need
like,
you.
I think for me it's
obligations is the right
Yes,
word.
yes.
There's a difference between like having an intrinsic motivation to do something versus an extrinsic motivation that's like, I need this because I need to hit my number, I need to provide for my family or whatever. What if you already provided? What if you are set? What if you're good?
Yeah.
Like at that point, I think it's like an onus on everyone to re-examine what you're doing with
Yes.
your time. And like Armand mentioned it earlier, he said, I would love to spend more time with my girls.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. So you could do that. It gives you the time. It gives you the freedom. You are unburdened by obligation, and then you can choose to do whatever you desire. It's amazing, but it's also like from where we stand, a dramatic change. And I think what I mentioned earlier applies here, where like it's easy for everyone to get stuck in a rut of your past life, of where you said, my obligations were this, and then once you hit your number, you're like, I'm still in my rut, but it's hard to like be like, I can actually spend time with my girls now.
So what do you think about this? Because this is a topic that I think you proposed. Like you've been.
Well, I
mulling
proposed it like
sorry.
based off some of the stuff you've been saying in the past
Okay.
few weeks. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts have been evolving. It's only been 5 weeks since I've had a daughter, but my thoughts on this have been evolving and like also getting deeper. Like I think I'm basically there. So that's something that I'm sort of like dealing with in real time. But I think where I land on it now, like from a very meta perspective, is different than what I had described 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Something that really taught me a lot, I guess, came from an unexpected place. I saw a YouTube video of a music video that featured Dick Van Dyke. I told Steven about this when we were out at dinner. Dick Van Dyke's 100 years old. He's like a former celebrity.
Crushing.
He was like
Wow.
he was like a dancer.
of the Dick Van Dyke Show.
I guess he was in a show. He was in Mary Poppins.
Nick at Night.
Yeah.
Anybody?
He was like a star in Mary Poppins and stuff. He was like a dancer, kind of like a Charlie Chaplin type individual, I guess. He's like the feature individual of the most recent Coldplay music video. And it like shows Dick Van Dyke at 100 years old dancing in the same way he did, and then like cuts to his like young Dick
No
Van Dyke.
way.
He's still dancing.
Wow.
And then the end of the like then he dances with his daughter who's like 60 something, and then it brings around his grandchildren and great grandchildren all around him.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, so this to me, again, I'm not telling anybody what success is, it's to me. But to me, success is that you led your life as an individual to the direction and degree that you wanted. And then also there's this like love element that he's like surrounded by. Family in his case, but it doesn't have to be family. But like to me, it's family because I just experienced that. So I'm like, to me, it's so obvious. It's like it's these two paths to get this like fulfillment. And like going back to sort of like what you do when you have all the money, I think like where I land on it is that I spent 40 years pursuing this individualistic sort of like I'm in the ruts. I'm like into achievement and making money. You know, I think another thing about it is that like my career specifically is like money oriented. You know, like I think it's kind of like it's kind of a blessing and a curse. To be great at it is to make a lot of money. You know, so like Warren Buffett is great because he made a lot of money. MJ is great because he scored a lot of points, not because he made a lot of money. So I'm sort of getting a little disillusioned by the money part of this career where I'm not like so in love with the act.
There's no other way for you to be great than make
more money. And I'm like, but I'm good on the money. So it's like, what am I pursuing here? The greatness or the dollars? And I'm like, I'm good on the dollars. So then I'm like really leaning into this like family love type aspect that I'm like, damn, it took me 40 years to even begin this. And now I want like more of it. I want like the Dick Van Dyke. I want a whole fucking room full of family and grandchildren and everything. That to me is like a beautiful vision of success.
I mean, you don't know this, but I think the Dick Van Dyke conversation you had with me was one of the most impactful conversations anybody's ever had with me.
Really? You didn't show it at the time?
Well, you know,
He's
people
got a
say
good
that
poker
about me.
face.
I internalize things. I think about them. But like I thought about that a lot.
I think about that a lot.
It was
That's definitely what
like-
it is for me.
it was very deep. And like I'm like you, like my entire life, like people like revolve around like making money, right? But they make money in this sort of like roundabout way, especially if you run a startup, right? You make money like 15 years in the future after you do a bunch of stuff, and then your day to day is very much about like doing the things, and it's very different when you are like in like trading or like it's just like literally every second it's just like, did this decision make money? No, fuck. And then that's just like it every second of every day is like, will this make money? Will this make money? Is this making money? How do I not lose too much money here? What's my risk, right? So to go from that to this kind of other thing where it's just like the total opposite. You're like optimizing for this like more grandiose, like generational, like life purpose thing. It's and like I feel like I'm kind of like I'm like trans money right now. I'm starting to cross over into the I'm in like the just kind of like this awkward period where I'm going someplace else, but I'm like not quite there yet. But like I know I'm going someplace else, but I'm still like fumbling around in the dark, trying to find my footing. I'm still like half blind, but like I see like a blurry picture of where I'm going, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the decision of like, do you create a family or not, is an incredibly important decision, you know, in life. And if you don't, you create a family of your work, your pursuits, your creativity, and the people you surround yourself with, and that really becomes your world that brings you love. And if you do choose to create a family, you either ignore them and you're a bad parent, or you step into it and you feel the blessing of what you have and this like multiple generations of love that you're surrounded by. And I think of all the things, for me, I decided at an early age, I was like, that would be if I can do it, if I meet the right person, if we can have kids, that's the most beautiful thing I want to do, regardless of those other things. Because, yeah, I mean, I haven't even seen this video, but it made me emotional even thinking about it. Like I transported myself into that version of myself 100 years old and seeing multiple generations in front of me. I can't imagine anything more beautiful, more full. I can already feel the fullness of having a child too, children, and I can't imagine. Like, I don't have a son, right? But I told you guys, like, my hope is that my daughter's future husbands are like my sons, and then they're gonna have children maybe, and then there's maybe my brother has some children. Like, that whole situation for me is like, just, I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, to be full in that
Surrounded
regard.
by.
But what I think what like sealed it for me was understanding the duality of it. It's like that Dick Van Dyke was also a badass individual, but then he also at 100 is dancing with his daughter with all his family around, and it's like, that is it. It's both.
Yeah. Yeah, well said.
Be Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, man.
What is this? A Coldplay music video that shows all these visuals you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Can I
Coldplay
can I
song?
keep the
watch it?
can I keep the volume
Is this
down
like a
or
new song?
It came out like 3 months ago. Like
Oh.
it's like new Coldplay just dropped.
Ooh, new Coldplay.
It's called All My Love.
Ooh.
Should we watch
Constant
like 5
reminders of
seconds
your
it?
moderate to
Yeah,
severe
turn that
Crohn's
volume
Part of
down,
the
brother,
video,
too.
like interviews.
You guys
him,
don't
too.
have YouTube Premium? What the fuck is this?
We're on a budget over here in case people.
Part of the
don't know.
music
Excellence
video is
awaits you
actually
at-
interviewing.
turn the
Oh
volume.
God, stop
I
it!
am. I'm trying.
sorry for yelling.
All right,
So it's kind of like
skip,
documentary
skip.
style. It's like filmed in his home. It like interviews him mid
Here, play
song.
it. Play it.
Okay, it's on.
We've been through low,
Oh damn, I haven't seen
been
Dick
through
Van Dyke in a while.
sunshine, been through snow.
Is this like his 100th birthday
All
party
the
or?
colors
wow.
of the weather.
I can already tell this is gonna make me very emotional.
Been through
Like,
high,
So if one of us starts crying, do I just
every
pause the
corner
stream?
of the sky. And still we're holding on together.
Wow, he's
You
100.
got all my
Wow, he's doing good.
I don't know if I can watch this, guys.
Fucking crushing.
I am already feeling a lot of things.
I'm all yours.
How did Coldplay select Dick Van Dyke?
You've got all my
No, it was a good choice.
love.
Oh my God.
Whether it rains,
He looks incredible. The way he's still moving.
rains, you've got all my love.
So he's got a.
There's his daughter.
Okay.
What is love? It certainly is a feeling of caring about the welfare and the
He's gonna
life
get
of the other
demonetized.
person.
That's fine.
As much as you care for yourself.
Until I die, let me hold you if
He's
you
singing the
cry.
lyrics.
Be my 1, 2, 3 forever. 'Cause you got all my love.
Damn, he's still going.
Still better than me.
Whether it
That's insane.
rains or pours,
pretty lean.
I'm all
This is very
yours.
emotional.
You've got
Steven, is this
all
okay?
my love.
That's a lot for me.
Whether it rains,
I want to see the whole family.
The family comes to the end.
Yeah, I want to see the
Me
whole
or
family.
her and Stacy, I've had dreams where I am, I don't know, depressed or lonely or hurt or something, and she comes to comfort me. Actually comes to comfort me.
Those are all his grandkids.
I think great grandkids.
Oh my God.
all I can say,
God, Dick Van Dyke is fucking crushing.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God, the family's bigger now.
He's getting bigger.
you've got all.
Wow, so in his family tree, from him down, there was like, it looked like there was like 60 people.
That's a lot of people.
Wow.
Oh damn, that hit me right in the feels.
All right, should we end this?
Oh,
We need some time.
that's it right there. Eric's right. That is it.
So we don't need to have any other conversations about money or success.
I
we just
I don't
close
think
those
we can
off.
say anything else after that. Damn, I feel like Eric undersold that to me.
Mm.
I was bawling my eyes out. I could have
I
started
mean,
with
when you
that.
have like the music playing, it really like you know
Yeah.
Chris Martin really gets me in the feels as it is, you know.
No doubt.
Oh, damn.
All right, guys.
All right, let's go have some babies, guys.
MSTY or
MSTY or baby.
Who cares? Who even cares anymore? That's my
Can't
whole
believe we just had that
point.
stupid
is an
MSTY
option?
conversation. God, sounds so fucking dumb in retrospect.
All right, everyone listening, go check that music video out, watch it, and or you can just go to the Alfalfa YouTube and subscribe and like the video. And yeah, that was a fun conversation. And Eric, thanks
great
for
combo.
finishing it off for us. On a lovely note.
I'm just glad I didn't bawl my eyes out again because I already have like 100.
I know your eyes are looking a little glazy over there. A little glazy.
It's just lack of sleep, dude.
Yeah, you don't wear contacts. I know. All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks in the chat for sticking with us the whole time. Love when you guys join us, and we will see you next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST,
Yeah,
live
baby.
on YouTube. Bye, guys.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye, everybody. Love you.